I'm Tom Johnson, Thomas Johnson Antique Furniture Restoration in Gorham, Maine. This is a cabinet from Switzerland. It was shipped over, and during shipment it meant something happened to it. It must have gotten dropped or something, and it's just completely bashed in the crown moldings, split the wood in a lot of places. These are all jammed up. They won't move. This door won't move. It knocked off one of these carved swags. Luckily we have that. But what I'm going to do is figure out how I'm going to free this up and get everything back to where it's supposed to be. I think the first thing I've got to do is free up this door, which is wedged pretty solidly between this carving and the molding here. I've got a spreader clamp, and I'm going to see if I can get that on here. Okay, I've been fooling around with this spreader clamp. I wasn't sure if I could get it to work, but I actually have been able to get it in there. I'm hoping I can use it to push this molding up enough to free this door up. Great, now I think I can get this door off of here. Yep. Wow, this is great that this pushed back up where it's supposed to go. I got to figure out how it's a mortise and tenon joint. I've got to figure out how I can get glue in there. I'm going to put my clamp on this side to see if this will push up. Maybe this piece will kind of come out of there and then I can glue it. No, this isn't moving. This does not want to move. I've got a fair amount of movement here in which I can open this up, I think, and work glue down there. So I think that what I got to do is clean all the old glue out of this joint. This one too, as I move this around, I can access that mortise, get some glue in there, and then I'll bring it all back together and clamp it up. So I'm going to try to clamp this together without any glue. Wow, so this thing is not moving, not coming back together. And then I realized, of course it can't. It's got a solid top here. Yeah, the sides of the cabinet are where they're supposed to be. It's not coming together. And then I notice now that here's this big separation right here. Now I don't think that this was always completely together because it's filled with dust. Quite a bit of dust. But obviously I think what's happened is it's these top moldings that have pushed out, especially this one. And you can see in here there's some dowels that go into the face of the cabinet and they're angled, so I think I sort of need to bring this whole section back over. So I'm going to need to clamp, put a clamp or a block of wood here or something in this area perpendicular to this piece and see if I can use a clamp to bring it back down. Okay, this thing's starting to move, and I'm thinking that I better not clamp it any further. I think I need to get glue in there, and then just go for it. I know it was never completely together because it was filled with dirt and dust. But I think I got it as much as I can right there. Yeah, it's together here, so nothing else is going to come together. So these gaps, I think, just have to stay there. They may have always been there. I'm going to have to fill them and touch them up after the fact. They're just not going to come together. I've got it together here and here, everywhere really. And I think that's just the way it is. Okay, everything's dried overnight. Everything looks good. I think before I start to fill in cracks and do touch-ups, the next step will be to reattach the carved swag. What's great about this is I seem to have all the pieces here. This fits in there. The original nail is still here, so I can put that exactly where it belongs. Here's the next piece. Goes like that. Then this piece. So I think what I'm going to do is leave this nail here and use it and glue this in place around the nail. And because these joints are such lousy joints, and because I've got a nail involved here, I'm going to use 5-minute epoxy to glue this in place. Well, it's just barely on there. Alright, this feels nice and strong. These pieces did not line up perfectly. I got them pretty good though. And so now I need to add the next piece, which goes here. You can clearly see where this piece used to be, but my piece here is slightly out of alignment. If I put this where it was, I've got a big gap here, so I've got to shift it up a little bit to make this joint meet. So it's going to be in a slightly different position, but it really doesn't matter. This seems great. Now all I think I've got to do is I'm going to fill some of these cracks and gaps, burning in some wax stick. So there you go. This nice cabinet came over from Switzerland. It met with some great trauma that kind of destroyed this whole cornice area. But I was able to push it back, glue it back together, get the swag back where it belongs, and a little bit of touch up and polish, and I think it looks pretty good.